Happy Friday for those in the US. For those that are somewhere else like Asia, it's it's Saturday. And I just want to tell you what we're doing here, folks. We're at my little cabin, which is on the property here. And we built this 10 years ago, give or take. And we're having to repair it already, and we're not even finished it. And this might become a project that gets documented on YouTube. So it won't be Scotty splitting outdoors for that particular one, but it'll be Scotty cabining outdoors, building outdoors. Yeah, that's it. I still think I should change it to Scotty X Outdoors. What do y'all think? Anyway, here's what I'm working on. I've got this hardware. I had to take off the double header beam that's on the deck here, and I'm replacing it with these galvanized bolts. And well, they weren't quite long enough to just go through the through holes as is. So what I'm gonna do is countersink them so that I get enough engagement on the nut that I don't have to go buy new hardware. What do you think, everybody? I need the nuts out of here. The nut and the washer. Where are you? Here we go. Put that in my pocket. So I'm going to show you what I did and what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. And it involves my router. And we're going to set that there because we need it. We're going to need some ear protection because this thing roars. And I know the algorithm's not going to find it because there's still nobody on. It's like, it's a joke, friends. By the way, I got all my 250th country anniversary stuff on. Red, white, and blue. So this is what we're working on here. Look, see that? I'm going to countersink about half an inch deep so that I can get the bolt through with the washers on it. And I don't know where to put the camera here so that you can see. Maybe like this. Like that. Test it. So about a 1/2 inch depth should give me enough. It's a little bit of a tricky operation. And welcome aboard, the only person on. Okay, I gotta take that board off up there. Because guess what? Thanks for joining. But this one, because the board is in the way of my bottom plate there. But let's see if that's deep enough. Do that check right now with the washer. Of course. Gotta move this deck board back. And yes, it does go through. And I'm missing a washer. Three on there, that's fine. I got an extra washer. I'm always looking for stuff. And it fits beautifully. Now, does this allow me to do this? Yeah, I can get around there. Thanks for the like. I'm working hard. Working hard for my money. Really hard. All right, now I need to find the big washer. Or I need a big one. Pull that guy in. So in 10 years. Aw, thank you. David Stevens. Thank you. That's awesome. Really. Appreciate that. And look at this. So it's an egg carton. And like I said, we're working on our cabin here. It's on our property where we live. We used to, before we built our house, we built this little 10 by 10 cabin I'm working on, and we never finished it. I mean, it was sleepable. We would use it instead of tenting it when we would come up to the property here before we had the big house. My wife and I, we built the cabin 10 by 10 with a nice little 6 by 6. I'll show it to you here in a minute. Deck. Anyway, it's not finished inside. And we're having to repair the deck, which is rotting away now. And not all of it, but sections of it. And if you look at some of my recent shorts, you can see some of my frustration. We replaced some of the joists. I had to replace this header um, beam here, which is just two 2x8s. And anyway, what's in this is some spare washers, which is really nice. I thought, I remember having some of these things left over, and I just went up there and I found exactly the same ones, which is this one. Because I need that one to go on the outside. Just like this. Like that. I need that. No, that's a different one there. I have the nut, I think, in my pocket. Or up here. Let's put that back up here. Here we go. That one. That. So what I did is I used the router because I have spade bits that would make this, but that really chews it up in the router. Set it to the right depth. Come around here. Put that on there. And I beefed down the hardware. This is what I had in there before. It's still in here on this side because I didn't replace this header here, just this one. But yeah, so one of the other things we're doing here when we replace them, because these things rot out completely, is I have to take the hangers off with a Sawzall. It's labor intensive, and then I'm putting screws back in. I already had somebody say, "Oh, don't do that." But there's only usually 2 people ever down here on this deck. So load bearing is not really an issue. This thing's built pretty sturdy, so we're not really worried. And if we have to replace them in 10 years, it's a lot easier to take the screws out. So that's what we're doing. I would rather just undo things than have to cut things off, because that's expensive and a lot of work. All right, let's go get a socket. And I'll show you. We had to replace most of the boards. See, it's shaded, doesn't get a lot of sun here, which makes it nice. It's very pleasant right now. It's about 90 out, but it feels like about, I don't know, 82 here in the forest. And we have a nice overview of a bottomland swamp. Thanks, Walla G9X. Voila. Yeah, and I'll show you in here. So you see sleeping quarters up here, but we never got to the finishing part of it. So it's just been kind of a tool shed here. I did put power in when we moved in. When we moved into the big house, I ran power from the house down to here. So we have, we actually even have internet, which is fantastic. I think for a little while we were like, no, we don't want to put the internet down there. But we thought, okay, my wife and I are the only ones that have ever stayed here. So if we make it a little nicer, maybe the kids, maybe the grandkids eventually will want to come and stay here. Who knows, right? It's kind of a cute little tree house. So, and then we put nice windows in this place. They were not cheap Anderson windows. That was a mistake, having the frosted window there, but we didn't bother with changing it because we didn't install the windows right away. We left it for a few months, and when we opened them, we were like, uh-oh. But it actually is not bad because the house is over there about 200 feet, 250 feet. And when in the fall, you can see through the trees. So if anybody's down here, you know. And then we have this little temporary, so we're really roughing it. The reason we're getting it kind of ready here is we're having like a family reunion in a couple of weeks, so we're gonna stay in here. But it's kind of cute and fully powered in here. Here's the mattress, sleeping quarters, little window here. Made that lamp a few years back, which goes nicely in here. Should turn the light on here. And I need to put something a little nicer in there, but this is kind of nice here. This one here. And then after, you know, there's always something where you go, why did I do that? I wanted to make sure we had at least 4 plugs, but instead of putting like a gang 4 in one spot, I don't know why I did this. What, one here and one here. It's just like the silly things that I did. But it is what it is. And of course, now why I say it's silly is I appreciate having the 2 there for chargers and whatnot. But the cutting for putting either drywall or we're putting this beadboard up is quite a lot of extra work. I made this ladder steps a few years ago out of, this was an oak tree fallen from this property. Anyway, we'll get back to this. Came up to get a socket. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know, it's really, we'll come down here, we'll bring a cocktail or whatever and just sit here, and it's so pleasant. It has a different vibe than sitting on the deck at the house. I mean, it's nice too, but it's just, I guess, sort of feels quaint. Is where I'm going with that. Let's see if this one fits. Too big. What was that one before? This one, I think. Half or no. No. I think it was metric. That one. I'm getting hungry here. We're gonna have lunch here in a few minutes, but try and finish this thing. I keep grabbing a metric and it's not metric. You can see here, still have some boards to put back on. We've got some squishy stuff here, down here, below this. See that? That joist needs to be replaced, but that won't happen right now. Not with people coming, trying to just get the main stuff done. Let's bring this closer. I don't have to fool around. That out of the way. I'm done with this. little bit too big. Come on. Found it. It's 9/16. They're all mixed up in here. Here, I'm working this. You want to see what I'm doing here. Tightening from the other side here. Pulling it in really tight now. That's nice fit. But I have to say, it was a little bit frustrating getting out here, and then you think that you've got a quick job replacing a couple boards, and then you get going and you realize, oh, when you pop those deck boards off, I can't put another deck board on here. There's nothing to screw it onto in certain places. And the next thing you know, you got the wrecking saw out, the Sawzall, because you're taking the girders out. And what you thought was going to be a few minutes, not few minutes, but maybe, let's say, a day job has turned into, the number of hours into it already is probably around 8. Which is not that bad. At least I enjoy doing it once I get going. And sometimes it's a little bit better too when you have a helper. So I have a helper, that's the missus, but she was busy doing other things, you know, divide and conquer, so to speak. And I would just do what I knew I could do myself, and then get her to come and help me when I really needed it. So, all right. So I feel good about that. That board can go back on, deck board. Let's do this. We got a big gap on the end here, which I guess that's what we want. Let's see if it finds the hole here. I think it did, which is nice. So the other thing that I realized too, we use nails when we put this deck on. We just had a pneumatic nailer, and I used regular nails. Bad move, because all those nails rusted, and the rust actually caused more rot because water would get down in there and then ruin the joist in those spots. Not everywhere, but because the new treatment is quite a bit more corrosive. The new meaning like they changed from copper chromium arsenic formulation back in 2004 or 3 or something. And they went to this ACQ, which is without the chromium and without the arsenic, but it's still copper something. And it's really corrosive on fasteners. So you need to use coated screws, deck screws, which we didn't do the first time around. And now I'm even wondering, you'll see we took a bunch of deck boards up and we're reusing, and so they get a little bit stripped, but they're of their coating. But we're gonna take a chance, and to save money, we're reusing them. Now we did paint the tops of the joists with an exterior spray paint, an oil-based one. Hopefully that helps protect it a little bit more. We'll see. And that's it. That's a wrap, so that I can go eat lunch, and then I'm going to come back afterwards and I'm going to fit some boards back into this gap here. But you can see what happens. It rots the top where there's contact. Water just sits, and eventually it falls apart. So yeah, we got to fix that. All right, peace out. Thanks for joining the few that were here. Really appreciate that. David, you're the man. And have a good rest of the day. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.